I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Oh, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. We're trying to get this figured out here. All right, welcome. Hello. It is the Political Spotlight. I'm your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. This is what is happening here. This is the 436th episode. We are coming to you live on Tuesday, April 22nd. It's just about 9:09 p.m. Thank you for being here. Sorry for the delay. I've been battling the gremlins in the computer for the last about 2 hours. I had to do a systems update, and that's never a good thing to do. And it was battling. I was trying to put it off, but I couldn't put it off any longer. And so we are here, though, thank God. So welcome. If you're here watching live, we would ask that you please do us a favor and smash that like button. If you're here in the future watching via replay, we'd ask you to smash that like button. That would be grand if you could do so. Thank you. Remember, if you want to communicate, communicate with us, you're watching live, you'll communicate over here on the right-hand side. It's your right. It's my right-hand side. It's the right-hand side. It's always confusing because I'm pointing to the left, but I have to say the right hand. It is what it is. If you're here via a replay in the future, you'll comment down below. And above all else, share the show with everyone you know. And that is all that we ask of you. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have had several people over the last couple of days and weeks, specifically the last couple of weeks, I've had a lot of people ask me for a kind of an update in Delaware County with what I thought was happening with Industrial Solar. And it's kind of been a hurry up and wait thing over the last several months. We've had a moratorium in place. And the I don't know if you're watching, Brandon, but I just got the message. If you're watching, I just got your message in the group, and I can't believe that either. We're going to talk about that here a little bit, and I'm going to talk about how disgusted I am in what I'm hearing. So we're going to be talking about solar, the solar deal going on here in Delaware County, where we've been. Obviously, everybody's aware of where we've been. It's just kind of been like, what's up? Hurry up and wait type of deal. We've had a moratorium in place. Obviously, that moratorium is getting ready to come to an end, and they're working. I'll be honest. I have not watched the entirety of Delaware County Commissioners meeting from yesterday, so we're going to go over parts of that, and that is talked about in the meeting. So we will talk about that. Give you a little bit of insight there, and then the other thing that I've been hearing from a lot of you on. Is the other thing that we're going to talk about. And that, of course, is what's currently going on with the state of Indiana versus Joshua Kimbrell. The state of Indiana versus Joshua Kimbrell trial is quickly approaching us. We are supposed to start... let me look here. Let me get an understanding where we are, get my bearings about me. We're supposed to start trial on Wednesday the 7th, and trial's supposed to last from Wednesday the 7th, Thursday the 8th, and Friday the 9th. Of course, this has been a proceeding that has been going on and on and on. It's been continued and continued and continued. It seems as if we are slowly coming to an end on this, and it's to me going to be an interesting end, an interesting conclusion to this whole fiasco. So I have at least the preliminary kind of bigger picture parts of the plea deal that I can discuss with you. I don't have the fine details. Of course, those won't be known until court, a day in court where he would either accept the plea or not accept the plea. And at this point, he either accepts the plea and it's over. There is no trial. There would just be a change of plea and then a sentencing, or he will reject the plea and we will go to trial. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. That's going to be the second half of the show. So stick around. It's going to be some interesting stuff, and we'll see where it goes. So, first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I'm also working on a couple of the plea deal was offered, and to my knowledge, it has been at least preliminarily accepted. So a deal was offered, and I believe the defense is accepting it. But it's not official, I guess is the way to say this. It's not been until both parties have signed off and the judge has accepted it. It has not happened. So we'll discuss that here in just a moment. So before we get started, I do want to let a couple folks know. There are a couple people out there that have been wanting to know. We're going to get there in just a second here, Ryan. Stick with us. Let me ask you. I guess I'll tell you guys what you want to hear first. Do you want to hear the plea deal first, or do you want to talk about Industrial Solar? If you want to hear the plea deal, put 1 in the comment, and if you want to talk about solar, put 2 in the comment. You guys tell me what you want. 1 if you want the plea deal. 2 if you want solar. 1 for the plea deal, 2 for solar. Which one you want to talk about first? It doesn't matter to me, one way or another. 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Okay. Tweety Bird, I knew she was going to do this. I knew it. Oh wow! Look, we got David Hall back. I figured he went and hid in a corner and crying would never come back, but look, he is here. I mean, it's really strange. I figured he would have been on here last night to call in and defend his sheriff. Kimbrell. Okay. Joshua. Let me pull this. I'm pulling up my case here real quick for y'all. 68 D as in David 01 2401 F1 0004. State of Indiana versus Joshua James Kimbrell. Level 1 felony. Oh, and this is yeah, that's right. That's right, Kate. And this is going to be the big deal. This is the thing that pisses me off about this. So we will get there. Yeah, Tweety, honestly, this is the big story. This is the big story. The solar is just a lot of conjecture, really, and kind of still hurry up and wait. And so it's not that big a deal. Hey, real quick before we get to this, I think there is somebody that is might be here watching that is waiting for a record request that I've been waiting on. I will have it tomorrow. I was notified. I was notified of this yesterday, that I would be able to pick up the my record request, and the record request in question is the contract for Adam Leach for the city of Muncie. So if you have been waiting to hear about that and you're interested in what's going on with that, I will be picking it up tomorrow, and we'll be talking about it tomorrow evening. So that's that. So I just wanted to put that out there. Okay, so the state of Indiana versus Joshua Kimbrell. Just to remind everybody, have still not heard anything on Vegas. And obviously, because of the last couple of deals with the county, I am at odds now with the county attorney. And so communication is now less than it used to be. So it's kind of hard to get any kind of information on them. Which sucks, but hopefully now that we have the new public access counselor in, maybe she can help set the record straight with some of those people. I need to get a hold of her. All right. Without further ado, let's pull up the My Case history here. Take a look at what we've got going on. Blow it up so you guys can see it. Make sure that you guys are... Whoa, we got real crazy there. Where are we at? Can I put that in this? I guess I can't put it in the center of the screen. It is where it is. Well, all right, here we go. So to make sure that you guys are aware of what we're talking about, just to be sure, because I know we have some new viewers, there was I don't know what we'd call him, a First Amendment auditor at first. I think he had a hard time of knowing what he was trying to do. He had some good points, whatever. Obviously, we partnered with him for a while. That then went south. He was not right for what we were doing. We were attempting to do different things. He was too much of a hothead. And I'll be honest, in the time that I knew him, if anyone, honestly, the biggest way to look at him is he was a piece of shit. If someone would have picked up the phone and called me and told me he beat somebody up or he beat his family, domestic violence, that would not have surprised me. Not in the least. That's the kind of person that I found him out to be. And I was happy. Kate was happy. Brent, we were all happy, I think, that the partnership ended. And several months after the partnership ended, let's see, we started having issues in July or August of 2023. Was it 2023? No, 2024. No. Wait a minute. I got the case right here. Let me pull it up. Yeah, it was 2023. So our partnership dissolved in July, August of 2023. And then in December of 2023, like the December 28th or 29th, I got a phone call from his wife, and she was upset. She was crying, and she said that he was in jail, that he had just turned himself in. That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Brandon. That was so horrible. It was insane. All because of clicks and views. You know, God has a perfect way. Things happen for a reason. I'm so glad that all of that happened because of what then came out later. That would have been a nightmare. So I'm glad that we had parted ways long before. So the wife called and said that this man was in jail. He had turned himself in, that she had basically caught on to the fact that he had been doing inappropriate things with their children, his stepchildren, her biological children. She had 4 children, 3 girls and 4 boys. Preteen, teenager, young teenage children that he had been inappropriate with for years. Had been doing this for multiple years. And it wasn't something that the police were investigating. It wasn't something that he had been accused of. It was something that basically, and I'm not going to get into the details of how it came out, but it came out to the mother. Josh admitted it to the mom. And he then, after a night of confessing, basically they discussed it all evening. And the next day, he then left their house and walked to the police station, and he turned himself in. So we'll get back to that. Yeah. Okay. So Krista, that's a really good point. So I want to explain this because some people know this and some people don't. I've been doing this since, in one form or another, since about 2015 or 16. And, Kate and her husband have always been helpful. And then because of Kate got me connected with Brandon, because Kate started following what Brandon was doing when Brandon sued J.D. Prescott over the First Amendment rights violation. Brandon Rudd, I caught myself. Brandon Rudd had sued J.D. Prescott, and then on my former audio podcast, Perception is Reality, and then the live I did, the Bilbrey live I did on Facebook, we started connecting up with Brandon, and then Brandon was like part of the team, and we became friends. And Kate and as Brandon says, Kate and Brandon became friends because they were both smack talking JD on Facebook and started talking legislation together. Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. She's down there smiling. Her head's doing this. She's smiling and nodding. She remembers. And so then that happened, and we just were kind of all friends, and Brandon's wife was involved, and we just kind of all were buddies and doing political things together. And there are things that we all disagree on, or things that we agree, or me and Brandon agree and Kate doesn't, or me and Kate agrees and Brandon doesn't, or Kate and Brandon agrees and I don't. There are things like that. But for the most part, we're all pretty similar in like our approach. And hello there, Joey. Hey, I'm glad you turned in because we're talking about the plea deal. So I'm glad you tuned in. So that's how the next couple of years worked. Well, then in late 2022, a buddy, a former acquaintance of mine that I knew when I lived in Winchester contacted me and said, hey, have you looked at what this guy's doing? Because I used to battle the Winchester government when I lived in Winchester and was, whatever. And he's like, hey, there's some guy out here that's giving Winchester a bunch of crap because of, how they are. Everybody knows how they are. You need to watch this. And so I tuned in and I watched what he was doing. And I could tell he was like rough around the edges. And so he and I, a couple different people put us in contact. And obviously we were wildly different. And, like when we do the show, I'm kind of loose. It's my program. I try to be respectful. Every now and then I might let, a naughty word slip out, or I might say damn or hell or, a shit here or there, but I try to be respectful and I try not to be, much more crazy than that. I definitely am mindful of my language in public and around in mixed company and whatever, when I'm with elderly people, women, yada yada yada. I'm not saying that someone can't be loud and cuss and carry on. Hey, you got a First Amendment right. You do you. I just try to do things a little bit differently. And I've got no problem with getting loud and carrying on and fighting with, verbally arguing and debating with elected officials. There's a time and a place for everything. But Josh was always over the top, in my opinion. And I kind of thought like, maybe we would be, because he openly admitted that he didn't understand a lot of this stuff and he was learning. And so I thought, well, maybe we'll be able to help each other. Maybe we'll be able to soften him a little bit and we'll be able to do good things. And I will say there are some good things. There are some good things. Like Alva said, it brought a lot of you who watched him to me. It brought me to a lot of you and various things. And I will say, it's because of Josh that I'm now on YouTube. I never did YouTube before Josh. So there are some good things that came from it. But there were aspects of Josh that were always bad, cringy to me. Like, for example, when we jump out at Caddis at a town board meeting and everybody there is like, quote unquote, elderly, all the town board members are elderly and most of them are women. And I'm like, hey, let's try not to go in here and be like overboard. Let's go in here and just do our thing and not, and right off the bat, Josh just jumps out and he starts at 11. And look, I don't have a problem going at 11. I don't have a problem jumping up to 11, but I'm never going to start at 11. I'm going to start at a 2 or a 3, and then I can work myself up if I need to be. But when you start out at 11, when, in the use of force continuum, when I jump out as a police officer and the first thing I do is shoot you in the head, there's no place to go there. You know what I mean? So that's just a very, very crazy thing. That being said, we tried to work with it, and then Josh did what Josh did, and we went our separate ways, and that was that. Okay. There were still some points that he made that were valid, but I didn't like the approach, and that's on him. So that's why we went separate ways for various different reasons. That's got nothing to do with the criminal case. They're two wildly different things. While he was going out here and trying to be this, whatever he was being, He had a very deep, dark secret. And it was bad. And I've said from word one, had I known about first of all, had I known about any of that, I would never have worked with him in any way, shape, or form. Had I known about anything, had he said anything crossing the line in my presence, I would have turned him in a heartbeat. I would have handcuffed him myself and drug him in. Whatever I needed to do, I would have done. So that's no thought there whatsoever. There's absolutely no, there's no excuse for what happened. So that's that. Josh was charged, and the charges that Josh was facing and is currently facing are and I swear that this has changed, because I think at one point there were 5 charges, but currently, and let me make sure. Yeah, no, it says there's 3. So there are 3 charges that Joshua Kimbrell's charged with. He is charged with 1 level 1 felony, which is the most severe. The only thing higher than this is murder, which is not a level 1 felony. It's its own charge. Murder is its own charge. So he's charged with level 1 Indiana Code 354243A, which is level 1 child molesting, where a defendant, meaning Joshua Kimbrell, is 21 years of age or older. He was in his 30s. And the defendant and the victim is under the age of 14. So that's that. Charge 2 is a level 4 felony, and it is Indiana Code 354243B, child molesting, fondling, or touching with child under the age of 14. And then a third charge of 354243B, child molesting, fondling, or touching with child under the age of 14. Well, I wonder if what they're doing, let me see here, because EJAC says there's 6 charges. What 6 charges are you saying? I don't see. Look here, I'll put this up on the. I don't see 6 counts. So here's what I'm looking at: State of Indiana versus Joshua James Kimbrell, 68 D David 012401 F1 4, Randolph Superior Court, filed on January 2nd, 2024, pending. Okay, Joshua Kimbrell, and then his charges, as I see currently, are 3. I don't see where you're seeing the other 6 counts. Let's go down here and take a look. So we'll go down here and take a look here. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking that you're looking at, is where there was a clerical error. And so what that is, by you saying there's 6, those were the original 6 counts. At some point, they have taken those down here. All right, let me go down here to the plea. Well, and let me tell you. All right, so okay, that's 414. Yeah, oh yeah, Chris. It was much worse. Well, I don't see where you're showing. I'm here. EJAC 414. What are you looking at? Scroll up to where?
414, agreement of parties.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Okay. Well,
I can open the link, but you can't.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. I guess I'm not too sure. I only have the loose understanding of what the plea is. So I'm going to tell you basically what I've heard from this. If we go down here to the 14th, when the plea deal was there, I'll tell you, and I'll come back to the hotel thing here in a moment. The plea that Josh was offered is as follows: 20 years, 15 served, 5 on parole. And he would be on the registry for life. So, again, that's a 20-year plea for 20 years where he serves 15 and there's 5 on parole, and then he is on the registry for life. Now, I personally don't believe that's good enough. I don't think that's good enough. And talking to the mother of the victims, she's not particularly happy with it either. She's happier with this than what it has been along the way. And yeah, there's pros and cons to this. The pros are 15 is a lot better than what I originally thought they would give him. Let's be honest, Josh was shooting for 8 years. He was shooting for 4 years. He was thinking that he was going to be able to get out on time served. You know what I mean? Josh is in there spinning and thinking of all of these ways that he can beat this on a loophole or whatever. What absolutely infuriates me is the fact that there was no investigation to this. There was no investigation needed. They weren't, and when I say that, yeah, the detectives needed to investigate and wrap things up, but Josh walked in and Josh turned himself in and Josh admitted to all of this. Now, what really sucks about this is with the plea deal, they drop the F1 felony. So he will not be charged with an F1 felony. And that was the thing that Josh has been working for. If it was me, I would say, no, I'm not okay with that. He can plead to the F1 and we can drop a felony or whatever, but drop the level 3 or whatever, but I want that F1 on him. Now, at the end of the day, is that more important than him being locked away like an animal for as long as he needs to be? And I'm going to tell you this as well. This is also something really big too. Anytime I've talked to the mother of the victims, I've always said I wanted whatever got Josh out of the Randolph County Jail and into the DOC as soon as possible. And here's the reasoning behind that. As I've told literally anybody that I can come in contact with, something is going on in Winchester. Something is going on in Randolph County. Something's in the water. I don't know what the deal is. It's strange. But Winchester and Randolph County have an overabundance of weirdos. Sorry for everybody that lives over there. For all my friends, y'all know what I'm talking about. There are crazy perverts, pedophiles, and horribly mentally disturbed individuals who do this and are caught and continue doing this time and time again. What bothers me about this is in the Randolph County Jail, all those freaks that are in there with him, they're not in there for other cases. A bunch of them are in there for the same thing. So they don't look at Josh as being bad. They look at him as being in there. He's in there the same thing, doing for the same thing they are. And the fact that they know him as civic duty, they look at Josh as being some kind of hero. He's in there doing the jailhouse lawyering and whatever. So what I want and what I've wanted is him to be pushed off into a Department of Corrections facility where he's not going to be the hero that he and others believe that he is. He's just going to be another child molester. So that's right. Once he gets sent to the DOC, he won't be, he's nobody. He's not the guy over there that the few people know him to be as that are locked up. So that's that. Now, that's exactly idiotic lawyering. He never understood law as much. Yeah, that's the biggest thing there is. Josh had a very low ability to comprehend what he read, or like it would take him several times to hear and understand something. He always had these really strange thoughts outside of obviously what he was charged with. It was like, no, dude, that's not correct. So yeah, I mean, Charlize, that's right. Walked in and fully admitted it. Why the plea deal? And I'm going to say this, and I hate this. I really hate saying this because I have liked Dave Dally. Dave and I have been friends, but I think Dave is ready to retire. Dave's ready to be done, and he's like dealing with like senioritis. He doesn't care. In my opinion, you know, the plea deal should be, all right, we'll give you 2 years less than the maximum you could get if we go to trial, and you would be found guilty on everything. I'll give you 2 years off of that. How about that? How about we do that? And you can say no, and if you say no, we'll go to trial. I'm fine with that. Now, you always run the risk. I mean, you never really know. And there's, things that happen, and you could always have some, one bleeding heart on the jury that's going to say, but, and let him off. I would hope to think that wouldn't happen. I know all of the victims were prepared to go to trial. And, no, not yet. We're getting ready to be there right now. We're just finishing up on this plea deal stuff. So, and what Kate's saying right there, I half expect that this is some kind of a ploy that he's doing here, and he's not really intending on taking the deal, but that he's just trying to delay court, which is very possible. I won't believe anything until it's done with Josh. I won't buy any of it. And it's we're just going to have to see. We'll wait and see. We're very close. I mean, we're let's see here. What? Okay. So, I don't know, obviously, what the motion. There was a motion filed yesterday. I don't know what this motion was or is. It's on my case. I don't know what's here, but obviously there was some sort of motion. I will contact the clerk's office tomorrow and get a copy of that sent to me. They've been very good at sending all of that. Jack. And you see that, Kate? Every now and then you come in with an absolute banger, and that's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, Charlize, that's honestly, I was hoping that he was going to be looking at like 25, 30 years, something like that, which if he would have went to trial and was found guilty, that's very possible. That's possibly what he was looking at. So, this plea deal to me is like exactly half of what he should truly be looking at. But 15 years, you think about this, 15 years. His victims by that time are going to be grown up and hopefully well on their way to forgetting this idiot and having a life. And I mean, they're doing as well as can be expected. I'm not going to get into much of that, but they're all doing what they need to do. The mother's doing what she's doing in there, and so they're getting by. So I'll keep you guys posted on this. Obviously, I'm very concerned, for the justice being done here. So I'll keep you guys posted with what I hear, what I see, and what we get from there. But as of right now, like I said, 20 years with 15 served, 5 on parole, and lifetime registry. So, it's not going to be a pleasant life for Josh from this point forward. You know what I mean? That's going to be the thing. So it is what it is. Really quickly before we move on to the solar, the other person that people always ask about is Lewis. And the last thing I heard about Lewis was that they're in the process of bringing him back to the States. When he's back from England to America, he will be transported straight back to the Randolph County Jail, where he will sit until he goes through his criminal process. So that's the last thing that I've heard there. I have not heard anything new. Matter of fact, a week ago, no, I'm getting ready to. About a week ago, I contacted the sheriff and I asked if there was any word, and he said no, there was no word yet. So there's no word yet. When I heard that he would be coming back, the last thing I heard was it was maybe a month before Trump was sworn in. And the word I heard that was because of the administration change, it might delay it a little bit, but it shouldn't be a long delay. Well, we're now 3.5 months in from that. And so I would think that it should be happening anytime. I'll keep you guys posted on that as well. I do want to mention up here where Kid Rock said this. I'm still curious. Winchester Mayor, Motel, Josh Lewis, all room names in his name video was removed. So it wasn't removed. It was removed off Josh's channel because all things were removed off Josh's channel. However, you can find the interview that I did with I don't know. I'll be honest. I haven't went back and listened to that interview, so I don't know if that's exactly what you're talking about or not. But if you go on my channel and you click it, you'll see home. If you go to the political spotlight, you'll find home. You'll find videos, shorts, live, podcast, playlist, posts, membership. And if you click on videos and you scroll down, scroll, let me tell you when it was, where it was. Let me tell you. Okay, it's going to be okay, let me find it here. Yeah, okay. It's called Lewis Gallagan Sits Down for a Conversation. It's an 1 and 13-minute long video that you can find. Sorry, I have headache. I don't know what you're saying. No, that's okay. You don't have to do this now, obviously. But I'm just saying it is there. So if you go to, I'll show you here where it is. Share view. Here it is right here on the channel. It's under the videos, and you got to scroll down. The video was posted about a year ago. It's called Lewis Gallagan Sits Down for a Conversation with Bilbrey. If you click on it,
send the link in Messenger and I will post it in the comments.
I'll do that. I don't think it does it let you actually do that?
I can. Nobody else can, but I can.
And it lets you click on it?
I think so.
I'm sending it in private messenger to you.
Yes.
So there that is. And yeah, that's so here's the thing. I put this conversation up because I didn't want to hide anything. It happened. I talked to I talked to Lewis about it happening, and we talked to everybody about it happening. My main aspect of this was Louis said that after we did this, that he threatened me and had me remove it because of he threatened me, and I was like, no, Josh took his video down, but you, little boy, have never threatened me. If you threaten me, it would not be very good. And so I don't know what kind of weird, bizarre fantasy land he was living in, but that would not be a good thing for him to do. But he certainly never threatened me. It is up. It was up. We put it up, and it's got a disclaimer in the thing. But like Brandon said, Louis is not a valid or someone that I would take. I would take that with a grain of salt, because you don't know what's factual. You don't know what he was actually a part of and okay with. Maybe he was a part of it. Maybe it happened. Maybe it didn't happen. I don't know. So that's all that. I don't know what else to say about that. But I can't wait to see both of these gentlemen receive the some form of punishment. Obviously, they're not either one more than likely going to get the punishment they deserve, but they will one day, and so that'll be that. But I would bet big money that Lewis is the common denominator in a lot of bad stuff. Yeah, well, yeah, right. That was really strange. Yeah, when he would come into the video and pretend to be at one time, I was literally battling actual Sproul's sister, and then Louis Gallagan pretending to be Sproul's sister. That was really strange. What a weird situation that time was. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for the plea deal crap. I'll let you know what I know when I know more, and we'll keep you posted. So, if I'm going to go, I was going to go to the trial. I was going to go to all 3 days of the trial. When I find out that they do the change of plea, I'm going to go to that date, and I won't be able to record in the courtroom, but I will be able to run down outside and record as they walk his ass back to the jail, and we'll get that. Oh yeah, what was okay? So the whole hotel topic. If for people knowing, just so people are aware, the allegation, and obviously this is an allegation that was made. It was not made by myself. It was made by lots of other people. This is an allegation that has been made in and around Winchester for a very long time, that there are things that go on at the hotel there in Winchester that are not above board. The allegation is that rooms are rented out, and that people are brought to the rooms, either underage girls, underage boys, high school kids, maybe people. It's been alleged that there have been people that have been trafficked, that have been brought to the hotel rooms. I'm not going to get into anything that Josh or Lewis really told me, but I will tell you, we know for a fact that there was a cousin, that JD Prescott's cousin, was hooking up with a minor at that hotel. that happened. There's no question about it. That absolutely happened. Now, you might say, well, wait a minute. We've all got cousins, and, I'm not my brother's keeper, and I can't be responsible for what my cousin does. Okay, that's fair. So JD's not his cousin. But the owner of the hotel is JD's mother. And the allegations have been made, and I will tell you, I have myself talked to an individual who, in fact, worked at the hotel. The hotel in Winchester. Yes. The one right at the corner of State Road 32 and 27. The Randolph County Inn. And I will tell you that I have talked to a woman who worked at that hotel, and she stated to me, this didn't come from Josh, it didn't come from Lewis. I've talked to her directly, and she said that she would be working, and that she would get a phone call, and she was to charge, like make ready several room keys. So like stick them in the machine and make this card ready for room 102 and this 103 and this 105, and then put them someplace, I believe she said, inside of a fire extinguisher door at the hotel, and that someone would come in from like the back door or something and pick those keys up and then utilize those keys, and they would use them for like the night. They would use the rooms for several hours or do whatever they would do there. And that they would then leave cash behind in the same spot that the keys were left. And that this person said that she felt like she was doing wrong, but she was a single mother. She need, that same story. They were giving me $500 a time they did this, or yada, yada, yada. And she stated absolutely, without 1,000%, no questions asked, that management knew about this. Management was okay about this. And she said that, this was something that was just, it was a very badly kept secret, meaning it was a secret, but everybody knew about it. So that was there. She said that the same person the same people that would call her and ask her for these room keys would also from time to time ask her to go into the bathroom and to take pictures that were explicit pictures of herself and send to them. And she was like, this is about the time I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so she stopped working there. And so that was told directly to me. And there have been many, many, many stories. I don't know. And Krista, I don't know exactly what the deal was with that, because obviously he had a home there. But I just know that there were things going on at that hotel, and there was involvement with that cousin at that hotel and a minor. And there's some very questionable things going on there. And there have been rumors. I won't say who, because I don't have proof of this yet. Or proof of this period, I guess. I would love to have information. So if there's anybody out there that has information about this, get in contact with me, because I would like to be able to prove this. I would like to be able to turn this into proper authorities outside of Randolph County, because the allegation is that there were people that were involved with this that were in local and state government. So that's concerning. I mean, that's very, very concerning if that in fact is the case. So, if there's anybody out there that has information about this, please get in contact with us. You know how to do that. We've got email, phone calls, Facebook. It's 2025. Figure it out. There's our information right there. Matter of fact. So that's the hotel deal. There in Winchester, Randolph County. And, you know, I would hate to think that that nothing ever comes to a close on this. I would like something to happen, and anyone that's been involved in that to meet justice. Yeah, Stumblefoot. That's right. Good. So yeah, Randolph County is a very weird. I loved Winchester. I loved Winchester. Loved everything about Winchester. And then, there were things like anywhere there are issues, but it's what you make of it. You gotta, wherever you're at, you need to keep eye on your children and make sure what's going on in their lives and yada yada yada. So that's that. All right. So now really quickly, we'll move on to the solar deal in Delaware County. So we've been under a solar moratorium now since last year. It has been prolonged. It's gearing up on coming to an end. And I'll be honest, I don't know if GW is still here or not, but to me, I'll say that I feel as if I'm hearing more and more about the Delaware County Industrial Solar, and I'm hearing more about this coming out of all of the commissioners' mouths. So I'm kind of confused at where we're standing. Do you know when that when that hearing is? Pack the jail auditorium. Do we know when that'll be? Let me pull this up here. Yeah, that would probably be a good thing. Let's see here. Yeah, right. That's a let's see here. All right, is it May 1st? Wait, what government body will this go to? Zoning? I even have a hard time keeping up with all that shit. Let's pull up this commissioners meeting and hear a little bit of this.
come. If it's over 50, then you'll let us, or yeah, asbestos removal is over 10, you'll let us know. Oh, absolutely. Okay. So we gave 50,000 for him to do all unsafe housing. Mm-hmm. So where's this money coming from?
So if it's the Metropolitan Plan Commission, then it will be that there's a meeting on May 1st. I don't know if it'll be the right meeting.
$4,000 in utilities. Danielle, in the time. I want to make it clear, Danielle, correct me if I'm wrong. This will go to the Planning Commission for the...
Okay, here we go. They're going to talk about it right here. Here we go.
Thank you.
Here we go. We'll start it from here. Also, got to say, I think their new microphones are in, and their new microphones are as shitty as their old microphones. So I guess we just, I don't know. If you want to go and you want to hear it badly enough, you got to go. I don't know what else to say. I think it's horrible. I mean, it would blow my mind to know how much money they spent on these horrible microphones when they literally could go buy, they could spend half the money that it's just, it's time that the Muncie City and Delaware County governments get rid of Mark Slusher, period.
Everyone, please take your seats. I can hardly hear it. Thank you. There's concern about, on our agenda under first reading, it has the proposed solar ordinance amendments. I want to make it clear, Danielle, correct me if I'm wrong. This will go to the Planning Commission for the first reading. And if they approve all the amendments and agree to everything we sent, or we have, then it will come back here for the second reading for our final approval. At that point, the solar ordinance would be law. If the Planning Commission has amendments they send back, again, we'll vote on it or change it and send it back to the Planning Commission. So it can go back and forth a few times, just so everybody's clear. Okay, so I want everyone to know what we sent today was amendments to the original going to the Planning Commission for the first hearing and public reading or public hearing, and then it'll come back here for final vote. Am I right? Okay. I want to make that clear. So we'll start with public comments. Sandra Bass. Okay. Arlene Tom. Okay.
Yeah.
Joe Russell. Oh, Danielle, in the time. Just a reminder, everyone will have 3 minutes, so try to wrap up everything you're going to say in 3 minutes, please. Thank you. Good morning, Joe Russell, 3501 East, 700 North, Eaton. So, you had 3 versions, which I was unaware of. You know, I was just reading what was presented on the internet as far as the amendment. But I still have some questions. One being, the committee I served on, with 8 other people, we were very clear when we talk about acres. If you say 3,000 or 5,000 acres, is under panel versus just acres. I think that needs to be noted for the future. Not to include, if you had a 500 acre field and 400 acres are under panel, then it's it counts as 400 acres, not 500. So we were very clear as the committee on under panel. You can insert that. And I'm a little concerned about Setback, I'd almost encourage a reciprocal setback for building permits. If we're saying 500 feet away, I think it's only fair to eliminate building permits during the life of the project within whatever your setbacks are. I know I'm outnumbered 500 to 1 as a farmer, 50 to 1 in the rural areas. And as Commissioner Brand said, oh, you're like 40 to 1 or something. Well, you're always going to hear that because we're greatly outnumbered. My concern on prime farmland, I don't, in correspondence with Commissioner Brand, is I consider all my land prime farmland according to the soil and water conservation, all the green stuff.
Yeah, right.
Prime. I don't know if we're talking the same language. I think you're talking 20% of the total, but it says 10% of a facility. Well, that would be all my land, all my neighbor's land is prime. So I don't know if we're talking about two different definitions of prime. That I'm not clear. Also not clear on the property value guarantee. So it's down to a half mile now, maybe. Is that for 1 year? Because also in this amendment, it talked about the 3-year thing was for the life of the project too. So I suggest being very clear on the length of that. So those are my concerns from what I heard today as far as the definitions of some of those terms. I might note that the 32% that's not farmed in Delaware County used to be prime farmland too. Thank you. Thank you. Linda Hanson.
Good morning. I'm Linda Hanson, 1400 West North, in Muncie, spokesperson for League of Women Voters of Muncie, Delaware County. Today's agenda exemplifies the obfuscation that has come to characterize utility solar discussion since the current moratorium was imposed. As all of you have noted, there were 3 items on the agenda, under table business, and then the ordinance for first reading, and then the resolution for approval. And I want to thank Commissioner Henry for clarifying the process. But I want to call attention to all of you and to all of us for the issue of transparency. The League of Women Voters supports and promotes an open governmental system that's representative, accountable, and responsive. Citizens have the right to know what their elected representatives are doing. Transparency is crucial to facilitate the public's informed understanding and public participation in government decision-making. Taking the agenda at face value, a citizen would be hard-pressed to understand why the proposed solar ordinance amendment was up for a first reading before the moratorium was even dealt with.
I know, E-Jacket kills me.
That the commissioners were already resolved to amend the ordinance currently under moratorium. A resolution states opinions or intentions. As titled, the resolution, which was not available to the public in advance of the meeting, stated the intention to amend. As passed, the resolution actually clarified the process by which the amendment will be, the ordinance will be amended and the moratorium ended. But such a resolution should have been presented and agreed upon before the ordinance.
What is this woman? She's pro-solar. The last gentleman that spoke was pro-solar. What I've noticed is a lot of pro people are starting to attend these, like happens. The people that are against are needing to get back to work.
The process to date has been neither transparent nor inclusive. Solar ordinance currently under moratorium was created transparently, was cumbersome, but proponents, opponents, and legal parties all ever say.
Good question, David Williams.
Public participation characterized those features of and the Delaware Muncie Metropolitan Planning Commission. When we discovered there were 3 versions Portable technology, are we talking about concentrating solar technology? So are we talking about utility scale, commercial? As stated, it mixes private home ownership of solar panels and community and commercial and utility scale. That should be changed. It should be specified. Section 11 addresses property value guarantee, which should be eliminated because it's probably not going to be upheld within our court system. And there are numerous studies of property values adjacent to solar farms in Midwestern states, including Indiana and Indianapolis, that have found little to no measurable differences in the dollar value sales of properties.
Why do all the people that are speaking in favor of this look identical? Why do they all look like the same woman?
Adjacent to the solar farm and controlled properties. This language should be struck.
They've got AIDS?
The requirement for a 500-foot setback for solar structures for non-participating property lines should be totally eliminated, and it should be we should adopt the Indiana Code of IC 8-1-42-10, which sets these standards for solar panel setbacks for non-participating property lines as for 250 feet from a non-participating dwelling. Setbacks should also relate to zoning and to existing structures. And none of this language appears within the current. So
pro.
I think it'd be more fair to go directly to them first and say, this is our asking price. This is what we need to cover our costs, in tearing down that building, and give them the first chance to buy it rather than asking them to go into competition with another organization. Thank you.
Thank you.
Grand.
Tim Hines. Tim Hines, 709 East 1300, Galveston, Indiana. So no, I'm not from around here, but I do work in the area, and I'm a business representative for the United Brotherhood of Carpenters, representing 575 members. Of that 575 members, 225 of those members live here in Delaware County. So I just wanted to put the citizens of the community's mind at ease and know that specifically, National Grid Renewables, developer-wise, is one of your best developers that you're going to have the opportunity to work with.
I know Tweety Bird.
And they have worked with Carpenters Union on several projects, solar projects.
I was being facetious.
And opportunities, paying livable wages, benefits for people working on their projects. They have the same beliefs as the UBC members in those in that manner. They also believe on using local labor. They want to provide opportunities for the youth in the area. They've worked with and partnered with communities and career centers, as do the Carpenters. And on a lot of these solar projects that they have utilized our workforce, some of those up to about half have been apprenticeships. So a lot of opportunities, yes, a lot of opportunities for our youth and learning a skill and getting the training and moving forward. They have also contributed to a lot of charitable donations and contributions throughout the counties and communities that they have worked in and around. So getting an ordinance, getting something in
GW,
place,
that's I heard that.
Great. It's good to see
you're right.
Everybody who came out and is concerned. That's
okay. We're jumping forward to the next one that looks identical.
That you can't apply them somewhere else. And in fact, there are lots of people who travel all over this country after they learn a skill in their local community.
And none of these people even live there.
That's what happens.
You don't go here.
All right, I went off script. But I also want to tell you one other thing, that I think that you're ignoring, again, farmers' needs as well as their property rights. Your actions are hindering farmers' ability to make a living and they count too in our community. And at this point, this may be, since it's silly season again, as I'll reference, I want to bring up something that I think you should consider seriously. If you like property value guarantees for homeowners, think about how it might work for farmers too. If farmers can't have solar built on their land, the county should have to pay the farmers who wanted solar the difference between what their land would have been worth with solar versus what their land is worth only as cropland whenever they sell. I don't think you like the price difference. It's significant. We're not talking a few $1,000s. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars, maybe millions. And now as we head toward this new ordinance, I really implore you to vote no on this. And I would love to see a motion to bring back the Marta Moody ordinance and put that back into effect. That was a smart, reasonable ordinance. Otherwise, it's time to give a name to the game that is being played in Delaware County. It's called bait and switch, which means unfair and deceptive practices. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Robert Coaster?
Are they still meeting out at Are they still meting out at
Yeah, it's Robert Kester. I live
Ron's
on Monell Drive here in Muncie. I fully support all the comments that have just been made. I think bait and switch is a good capture of what's happening. I think it's pretty clear that there's efforts being made to kill this thing and not really respond to the people in the county. We have a vote, we have a voice, we put forward what we want to see as a group, and then to unilaterally come in and reject that and impose something different smacks of other things that have happened in the country recently, which is really troubling.
I'll get a hold of him and find out.
The idea that
yeah,
is,
listen to our group, not the other group.
Without doubt, it assures a certain level of income. It assures passing down through heritage, stability of the farmstead that's been in the family for some time. And
It ensures that they can pass it down. Problem is that the solar panels that they want to install are the ones that have been banned in Europe because they've been shown to leach.
Yeah.
So when they remove them, that farmland isn't going to be worth anything.
Yeah. Yeah. That the damage to the land afterwards, I don't think people are thinking about. Of course, none of these people are going to be around, so they don't care.
I think that's
moreover, none of them live in the area anyway, so it doesn't really matter. They're all Ball State professors and wannabes.
Option of an ordinance.
All right, moving along.
To me. And
I'm telling you, they're all the same damn person. It is all the same person. This lady's been up here 5 times.
if this was flipped, so we had a chance to have input from professionals and guidance from people that have installed, have seen the benefits of solar, and it's written prior to any immediate amendments this evening. We are down to 149.6 buildable acres to put under panel. The ones that get hurt there are the farmers who have chosen this for their property. They will not be able to reap the benefits that the commissioners may have.
Who this is?
But I hope that you count in support of solar, count in support of how to use our land in this county. We should be listening to the citizens and giving the due respect to property owners and assessing.
It said we will be down to X number of acres. So it sounds to me like she's from the solar company.
Yeah.
So I would encourage everyone here to vote no on this, to step back and do a better assessment of what's going on and hear everybody. Maybe it's a return to what is deemed the Marta Moody proposal. Maybe it's something better. But without due process and clarity in moving forward, nobody can really be a part of that. So my disappointment today is watching this just kind of fly by without respect to the input from everybody here. Having comments at the end doesn't make sense to me if you actually are interested in what people have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mara Hall?
That the commissioners may have had. We've also put on public information sessions and been very transparent about our efforts and our intentions.
I'm going to.
Many of that was done directly with the commissioners. We wanted to make sure the public was aware that there are alternative red lines out there, and it is public record if you would like a copy. We do want to be clear. While we may have stated that the original ordinance allowed our project to be buildable with those setbacks, buildable does not mean probable or economically viable. It would require in excess of 100 different variances to actually make an economically viable project. Of the 1,640 acres we currently have under lease, the way the ordinance was written prior to any immediate amendments this evening, we are down to 149.6 buildable acres to put under panel. The ones that get hurt there are the farmers who have chosen this for their property. They will not be able to reap the benefits because of those additional setbacks. Now, some people may applaud the fact that an economically viable utility scale solar project can't proceed, but I don't think that that is the goal of the commissioners or this county. We want to continue working with you to make sure that the ordinance does allow these projects to be built. Our phones are on, our emails are available, whatever we can do to help. My ask of you this morning is that when this goes to the Planning Commission and we have more than 3 minutes to present a wealth of information and modifications are made, please be open to receiving those modifications. If we can make them in 2 minutes here this morning, we can make them after hours of research and discussion later on. In 3 minutes, I certainly can't outline every single issue with the proposed language, but I have highlighted the issue with the setbacks reducing our buildable acreage. Property value guarantees are unworkable and an administrative burden. Who would hold the bond? How would one make a claim on the bond? Who's eligible for the bond? There are many, many questions that need to be fleshed out to make that workable. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Cheryl Dawson?
Good morning, I'm Cheryl Dawson. My address is 4214 West State Road 28. My farm would be at the west end of this Royalton project. I want to say thank you, first of all, to former county commissioner, Mr. King, for placing the moratorium last fall or requesting it. And I appreciate in this revised ordinance that there's a lot more detail concerning drainage in it than the previously approved ordinance. I also appreciate that there's additional information regarding battery storage and safety.
All right. So enough of this. This is just, I'm wanting to give you guys an example. So basically what's been happening here, and I said that this would happen. The people that spoke out about this, the people that don't want this, in my opinion, an overwhelming large majority of the people in Delaware County that do not want this, they have came to meetings and they've been at meetings and they've spoke out, but then they get back to work. All of these people that are pro, they've been coming to these meetings and speaking every month since they learned that they needed to get together. And that to me is scary. And I'm going to be honest with GW. I pushed for Brand over King. Brand is still yet right now, Brand is 10 times better than James King could ever imagine to be. There have been some questionable things, in my opinion, with Brand. And I am like you. I do not fully trust everything that he is doing with this, because he has become more open to the idea of industrial solar, it feels like. Now, I'm not going to bash him for sitting down with them and talking and listening, and, because I fully believe that you need to know your enemy. You can't just shut your enemy off and not listen and not hear. You need to understand where they're coming from, what they're doing. That helps you in knowing how to better defeat them. So, he's very much like that he wants to hear everything about something. And I don't knock him for that, but I'm very leery, and I'm going to be very watchful. I do like that he was in and he was pushing the private homeowner ordinance thing, whatever that was, and that's what Tweety Bird was talking about when Sherry's like, yeah, you read it. And he's like, no, we all need to read it. And so I feel like we need to be watchful of that. But the other thing is the anti-solar people are going to have to start getting back engaged and be pushing it back now. And so I'm just saying that the anti-solar people have, to me, are way larger. It's an absolute larger grouping of folks. I also am not somebody that says, well, you live on the South Side, so your opinion doesn't matter. Now, I don't believe that. But in the grand scheme of things, at the end of the day, somebody who's living right on top of the thing, that does count. You don't just shut everybody off or shut other people off, but you've got to give a little bit more credence to the people living right there than, say, the people living down on off Petty in the village. That's not going to happen. That's very crazy to me. So that's very big. Hey, I do want to take a moment really quickly and remind y'all that there is a meeting tomorrow in where's it at, Bree? Can you put all the things up in the comment and we'll share it? There is that meeting. We had Bree on a couple weeks ago, and we've been working on getting her back on, but it's just not happened. But we're going to have her back on here at some point to talk. There's been some hiccups in kind of what's been going on, but I do want to make sure that everybody knows the hazardous NPL Superfund site, Anderson, Indiana, community announcement. Tomorrow, April 23rd, 2025, there will be a town hall community meeting held at the Anderson Public Library to discuss the drinking water issues, the NPL sites, other water contamination sites, and brainstorm the next steps and solutions for the community. Anderson Public Library, Delaware Room at 111 East 12th Street, Anderson, Indiana, April 23rd, 2025, from 5:30 p.m. until 7 p.m. So we're going to put that up. She's got that there. And we're going to have that. We're involved with that and really want to make that a big thing. So I want to continue pushing that. But I will put your thing up there at the end of this. But yeah, getting back to what GW's saying about Joe, Joe's a paid hack for these people. So you've really got to listen to that. Where's Hines at? Did we pass him? Or is he at the beginning? What? Are you talking to me? What are you saying? First person is Steve Hines. After they call Ron. All right, I don't know. No, he's a little later on, they're saying. Okay, hold on here. All right, keep going. That's absolutely right. You're exactly right. Absolutely. Now, these people are against
Hello, my name is Mike Johnson. I live on 200 West, and I want to thank the commissioners for all the work and hard work they put into this and writing it. And I know it's taken a lot of time, a lot of research, and I know of us that's been working with you, or us, a team that's been working together to try to really get a strong ordinance in place. And I think we've become family and really good neighbors. I want to thank everybody for that. Some things I hear that concern me is there's a lack of energy. There's a lack of energy in Delaware County. No, that's not right. There's not a lack of energy here. We do have a strong, robust energy supply. It's kind of like I hear these comments like when these solar panels get built, they're going to run a cable from the solar panels to your house and you're going to be fine. That's not the way this works. The energy goes in a cable, the energy is stored, but then it goes on the grid and you don't know where that's going to go, but it's not going to go to your home. It's just not. That's just not the way it works. So I'm not against farmers. When I was growing up as a teenager, I worked for a farmer, and there was something about that. I was out disking, I would help combine, it would help do a lot of things, cultivate. I chose a different career path, and now I'm at a point where, I get ready to retire here real soon. I wouldn't mind just working for a farmer. I'm not against farmers, and I don't think anybody is. I just want to see our land protected, and I want to see our community protected in our county. And this is not an area where you've got sparse population. This solar build, like Mr. Carter was talking about, is just, there's so many homes that are affected by this. You don't have 5 or 6 homes that are sporadic and spread out. No, these are right here concentrated in this area. I also hear that we got to be open for business in Delaware County. We are open for business in Delaware County. That's why Canpack built a huge facility on the south side of Muncie and provided jobs. That's why Tools and Tool changed their name to Mercix. They expanded. They're doing great. This is why Muncie Power Products expanded their business here. So there are a lot of jobs. I also hear that the NDOT is going to be doing a workshop this week that they're going to be possibly putting in a roundabout at State Road 3 and Eaton Willie Pike. Okay, that's going to provide jobs. That's going to provide, that's going to be a good thing. But the thing you got to think about too is if anything is there and it drops your property value and it affects your way of life in a negative way, then it's not a good thing. The Cardinal Greenway was a great thing. Taking old railroads and making trail. That's it, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Lynn Thornburg.
Had to deal with a horrible homeless camp that was right there on the trail. Another question.
For everybody, so everyone's aware, because this is some history that not a lot of people, older people know, but maybe newer people don't. The woman speaking right there is this person's mother. That's Nora's mom. So she's Looney Tunes. Just FYI.
Does everybody that's the adjacent property owner have to pay the cost of the demolition? Because
I don't know where she stands on this. Maybe she's against it. I wouldn't think so. To me, I think she would be like, yeah, put it all over everywhere. But maybe she's against it. I'm just telling you.
It's the cost of running government. Like if a fireman comes to save you at your house, does that homeowner have to pay that fireman? Taking care of properties that the county owns is just part of doing business. And
What's she talking about?
Other than that, we'll just continue with what we can through our neighborhood to assist her in her Arlena and Sonny.
What is she talking about?
He gave a lot of time to keeping Muncie looking good. I remember, working with unsafe buildings because I sort of set up that ordinance when I was at City Hall. And I don't ever remember charging adjacent property owners because
It
they've
looks
been
like she
dealing
needs to
with
put a
something
box over
for
her head.
years. If they actually wanted to take ownership and continue maintaining that, pay
All right,
taxes
enough of
on
that.
it.
I can't
It's
listen
just
anymore.
part of
Store. So the future property taxes that are paid there will have to pay that 17,000. So it's 17,000 is a moot comment in my opinion. So where do we go from here? So this is gonna be more of me, Brian Shaw, talking and not really the neighborhood association president. So I don't know what those plans are for MRC. I don't like to speculate, but either if it's this tiny homes thing, either it's a for-profit. I just want to commend you guys for all the work you've put in this new ordinance. I especially want to call Mr. Brand. I know he's put in a lot of legwork on this, and I appreciate that a lot. A couple things. The proponents for solar, they come up here and they say that they have rooftop solar as it uses on an annual basis.
Is that is this?
I just wanted
Wait,
to
wait,
mention
wait,
that in
wait,
light.
wait. Who's Mr. Hines? This guy here? All right, we'll back up here and listen.
Thank you. Tom Collins.
No, that's Tom Collins. Wait, was the young kid Mr. Hines?
And potentially have the problems that go along with that because we have a disproportionate number of services for people in the
Wait, is the all right? There's a little bit of delay. Is the guy in the hat? All right, we'll have to listen. There we go.
And problems come with that. I've had problems on my front porch with people being in fights, arguments when they're leaving one social service area, coming to another. If this is another one that's going to cause problems, it's going to cause property values to go down. My property values just went up by 20% according to the assessor. I don't really know how, but I'll be
okay. Here we go.
Thank you. Thanks, sir. Ron Crouch. Ron's still here. Is there anybody in the hallway? Mike, is there anyone out there? Okay. Stephen Hines.
Here we go.
Good morning, almost afternoon. My name is Stephen Hines. I live at 2706 South Tacoma Avenue, Muncie. I just want to commend you guys for all the work you've put in this new ordinance. I especially want to call Mr. Brand. I know he's put in a lot of legwork on this, and I appreciate that a lot. A couple things. The proponents for solar, they come up here and they say that they have information saying it's not going to devalue property values, but they don't want it in there. That's kind of like it doesn't really make sense because even if it was in there and our property values didn't go down, there's no harm in having it in there. And then the other thing, I don't know if their lawyer's still here. I wish she was, but I think they sent her here to mislead you and to say that putting in common sense setbacks like you can't put solar panels on an existing easement. That's just disrespectful to you guys coming here and lie and try to tell you that that's not going to work for them. It's a matter of will on their part, and that's all I got to say. Thank you. Thank you. Tom Collins.
Yeah, I like that dude.
Thanks. Tom Collins, 62 East Washington Street. I'm an architect, and I led a group of 100 plus students on the design and construction of a net zero energy duplex home in Indianapolis. Maybe you've heard about it, but that project was an affordable housing project, and it makes as much energy with rooftop solar
I like
as it
that.
uses on an annual basis. And I just wanted to mention that in light of some of the discussions.
And my thing is, did the attorney come there, say what she had to say, and then bolted? She didn't come there to listen to anybody, any pros or cons, one way or another. She came there to say her piece and then bolted. Screw that.
Today about restrictions with setbacks on residential solar. So that project is an infill project in a very poor part of Indianapolis. There was no objection from any of the neighborhood organizations about that rooftop solar. And in fact, it hasn't had a negative impact on property values. It's had a positive impact. After that project was finished, there's been at least a dozen other development projects that have.
All right. I'm now going to go forward to the beginning and let you hear them talk a little bit. When did they talk about the solar?
Roll call on the recess. Where's your brand? Go ahead and spend the money to take this down. And now I would like to, instead of just putting a lien on this property, I would like for you guys to building. Yes, sir. Yep. Anything else? No. Anybody else? All right. You guys have your weights and measures report.
When did they talk about the solar?
No additional costs were brought up. So these costs were not originally assumed, and they weren't particularly.
Okay, third thing tabled at the very beginning.
Also, I'd like to say this is good progress, but it still falls short of my vision for the county's handbook, and there will be amendments for motion for, it's going to be introduction, I believe, of that ordinance. Is that correct, Danielle?
Yes.
The current ordinance setbacks of 5
Here we go.
projects, some of that actually falls within the town meetings now with Hawthorne. To me, a couple people offered me new contacts, but in the meantime, both those companies reached out to me, and I've had 2 meetings now with Hawthorne and one with Exilio. Exilio is an Eaton project. Some of that actually falls within the town limits of Eaton, and the Hawthorne project is what they call the Albany project, but it's actually more located around the drag strip and an old stone quarry. In both of those meetings, I found out from them that the current ordinance setbacks of 500 feet do not preclude them from building a project. So that is empirically true of all 4 projects now, that the setback at 500 foot does not prevent them from building these projects. They all have buildable maps, and that is not even one of the things that they're most concerned about. Obviously, a lower setback makes it easier for them, but they all said they have buildable projects. The one in Eaton, the Exilio project, actually has some pretty big challenges with flood maps. That's their biggest challenge, getting their panels placed where they want them, far more than the setbacks. I'll tell you that I've probably put in 300 hours. I'm not bragging or complaining. I'm just telling you I've put in a lot of time trying to understand this, meeting with the companies, meeting with people, listening to people. I've spent as much time as people wanted. I don't think anybody could ever say that I cut them short. And what we have are 4 very unique projects. No 2 are the same. Writing an ordinance, a one-size-fits-all, it's incredibly difficult when you have such a broad spectrum of idiosyncrasies for each of these projects. I want to also say that we continue to get a lot of requests in Delaware County for development of crypto mining and data centers, which use a lot of electricity. That means we don't have a shortage of electricity here in Delaware County. We have a lot of electricity. That's why those companies want to come here. So the folks that say we need this because we need electricity, it's simply not true for Delaware County. I would also say that some of these companies have a history of selling their projects to a REIT, a real estate investment tax shelter company, and I would hate to see that happen. Also would hate to see them sell to utility. When it goes to a utility that falls under a tax exempt status and they pay no taxes at all, which SB1, I'll probably talk about it here in a little bit, also has a significant impact on the way that we should all think about development going forward. With personal property tax on businesses being increased, it's currently $80,000 a year to $1 million next year and $2 million the following year. That's a significant reduction in business personal property tax coming to the Delaware County assessed value. And that's the good news. The bad news is the 30% floor on business personal property tax goes away. So these developments and other developments, we need to really think about how we're going to approach these. And I think probably an economic development agreement or some sort of a payment in lieu of taxes is the only way forward, because these are not going to do much for our assessed value for very long. I've seen the depreciation schedules from 3 of the 4 companies, and they completely depreciate their assets in 6 years. 6 years. And with the 30% floor going away, that means there is zero value for business personal property taxes, not just on solar, on all developments. So I think it changes the way we should think about development, but specifically about solar. So I have talked to all 4 companies. They're all amenable to continuing to talk to us about revisiting economic development agreements. I also asked all 4 of them a very specific question: who pays the current property taxes? So in Delaware County, farm ground is worth more than what the assessed value is. The assessed value of farm ground in Delaware County is $2,390 an acre. Ground's obviously worth more than that because it sells for more than that, but there's a provision that allows the assessment to only be $2,390. These solar developments are considered a utility class 800 in property tax code, and they fall under that provision by the state, and the state assesses this ground at $13,726 an acre. So I asked those companies, who pays the property taxes? And the answer varies quite widely based on what I said earlier, that all 4 of these projects are different. Some of the companies said, well, that's kind of, not been defined yet, which indicates to me that the landowner may have to pay these property taxes. Some people said the property owner has to pay the base rate, the $23.90, and then they put a cap on the assessed value.
This is interesting.
And
this is interesting.
They put a limit on it, so the company would pay up to that limit. Anything over that limit, up to the $13,726, would go to the property owner. So I would just caution anybody that has a contract, I haven't seen them, to really pay attention to who's paying the property taxes while the property taxes are in place. That seems to be a really deep rabbit hole that I can't get straight answers on. Having said that, I appreciate all the input from everybody, including the companies reaching out to me. We are going to meet face to face with the Hawthorne project later this week. The guy is going to come to town and sit down and talk to us about economic development agreements. There's only one economic development agreement currently, that's with Invenergy. Hawthorne had one that was in play, but it didn't get across the goal line for lots of reasons. And I believe that that's going to be critically important if we really do want to bring any money at all to the coffers of Delaware County. That's my update. Make a motion. Put it back.
We don't want to bring anybody into Delaware County.
Motion and second to table. Roll call, please. Commissioner Brand, yes. Commissioner Reagan.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry. Yes.
Appreciate all your help on that, Steve.
Course and contract. Yeah, I'll make a motion to bring that off the table, please.
Second.
Roll call, please. Commissioner Reagan.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand. Yes. Commissioner Henry. Yes. So, dug into this. This is another one of those self-renewal, indefinitely perpetuating contracts that we've come across. And I appreciate all the work that's been done by Leslie Rayner. I believe Leslie's here today. And we also got a competitive analysis from Centos.
All right. I'm done with that. All right. Go back and watch this meeting. There's a lot. I'm going to go and watch it after we're off the air tonight. It's a 2-hour and 27 long minute meeting. You don't have to watch the public comments. We've already watched that, but I definitely think this meeting would be worth watching fully. So I'm going to go watch it when we're done. The bottom line here, and the main talking point of tonight's show was that solar is not dead in Delaware County. And I truly believe that the people that are anti-industrial solar, we're going to have to get on the ball because this is coming our way. I think that they're going to try to jam this through. I don't think that we're working in a situation where we've got government entities trying to stop this. I don't think that we're seeing that. So man, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to get a hold of Ron Crouch tomorrow, kind of find out what their group is doing, seeing if they're still meeting or if they're going to start meeting again, see what's happening, and get involved with that because I'm definitely on their side. I am not for industrial solar. When this all first started, 4 years ago, I said I wasn't for or against. I was just not happy with how the county was running things, and I wanted better communication. Now, 4 years on, I am definitely anti-industrial solar. We don't want it here. It does not belong here. I don't want it here. If the Ball State professors and the gray hairs want it, let them stick it in their yards, stick it in their on their roof, stick it up their ass, stick it wherever they want, but let them deal with it. It does not belong on the farm grounds. We don't want it here in Delaware County. I don't want it here in Delaware County, and we need to deal with this. So we need to find out when it's going to be on the Planning Commission. I will call tomorrow and find out. Yeah, we will watch that. We'll definitely watch that before we roll out of here. Let me make a note to call the Planning Commission tomorrow. Call Planning Commission. Out. I'll find that out tomorrow. That way we can start plugging people being there. We'll talk about that tomorrow evening. Do we know when in the meeting that happened? Yeah, I hear you, GW. Do we know where that happens?
Basically, at the end of the day, of course, it is still, our contract is with the Community Enhancement Project. Correct.
Where they have the vote, where they've Sherry and Henry vote to change the 20% prime farmland limit. Let me look here for the agenda. Okay. Okay. I see where it is. I see where it is. I got the agenda pulled up here now, so let's go forward here.
Thank you. Yep. Now, having said that, it needs mowed now.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I would like to make a motion to approve Droopy's to mow under their current.
It's the very next thing here. It's the very next thing.
Receive bids and award it. So they may mow it a couple of times.
That's fine.
Okay.
The grass grows real fast.
Yeah, so when we sent them to you guys, we had the draft that went online that we talked about and started with. You guys had changes, so then you each got a version, and then today you need to decide which one you're sending to the plan. That's what the
tricky, Brooke and Struble.
Options to the Planning Commission. I think we need to show them one option.
Not big fans of Brooke and Struble.
So let's talk about the differences real quick. Mr. Brand had some additions to make to the solar ordinance. He sat down with our attorneys. Our attorneys went through the amendments that he proposed, and they put them out, and that's a copy that everyone received. In that copy, and so Sherry and I reviewed that copy, and we come up with our own version. Some of the things that were different were the property value guarantees. Mr. Brand's was property value guarantee within a mile of the solar installation. Sherry was a half mile. I was, property adjoining the installation. So that was a difference. There was another difference. Terry, you wanted a setback cut by 50 feet.
Yeah, I just want to make a simple.
There was, I think there was a setback of 550. Sherry wanted it moved to 500. There was part of the ordinance that stated that, only 10%, correct me if I'm wrong here, Stephen, only 10% of prime farm ground could be used, for solar panels. Both Sherry and I wanted that part, eliminated. There was another, part of it that was.
Wait, what? Why?
This one, with personal solar installation, you could only have how many square? Yeah, the original one was no more than 8 square. No more than 8 square feet going forward, and then it had to revert. If it was more than 8 square feet, it had to revert to the ordinance. I eliminated that. Did you want that eliminated? I think you did too, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think you both did. Yeah. Those were the differences.
Yeah.
So the 550 foot, just for clarification, that Sherry wanted moved to 500 was on battery energy storage systems. You wanted it the same as what the current setback is for solar. The reason I wanted something in there for private, not commercial, was I've heard from in the time I've gone around the county listening to people, I've heard people say, hey, they can put these within 25 feet of their property line. And, you know, they were concerned about their property value and viewship. Those are the two main concerns that I hear. So you guys are proposing that it's not in the ordinance at all, correct? That somebody can put, you know, a bank of panels 25 feet away from their property line. And it's private.
Up to 500 feet. I missed it.
Okay, so that was the first one. And then Commissioner Henry got it exactly right on the PVG, the property value guarantee. A mile, and I will say, there was some additional language in the one that got posted online about 3 miles. That should be a mile. That should have also said 1 mile. So it's a mile. I want to make it clear that property value guarantee is good for 1 year after completion of the installation. It says siting in the ordinance, which means completion, and the reason for that is it gives people a chance to see what it really looks like. Some people might go, hey, I can live with this. Some people might say, hey, it's worse than I thought. Or anywhere in between, but it gives people an opportunity to see the development. Right now, we have all these images in our minds of what it may or may not look like. And I know that we see pictures or engineered drawings of what the view shed is going to look like, but until you're sitting on your porch looking at it, you don't know. So
no, you idiots. Anybody, we know what it looks like. It's not going to look any different than what it looks like in Randolph County. That is stupid.
More than adjacent. That's where I'm at.
No, you can't tell me. Brand is smarter than that. Brand is smarter than that. That is a bullshit statement. Unless you're just kind of zonked out of your brain, or you're 2 years old, or just a complete idiot, you understand what this is going to look like. Dear God, I hope he's smarter than that.
Anything else? Yeah, on the prime farm ground, the reason that was in there was to encourage brownfield developments and not consume our prime farm ground. There are 7 commercial ways to generate electricity, some more effective than others. There's one way to grow food. That's out of the ground. And this prime farm ground.
We don't know. Maybe Ron will like looking at this. Hell, maybe he want it built right up. They just build it straight up to his porch. Ron, you're an idiot. You're fighting this. You don't even know what you're missing. You want it built right up to your porch, right? You might love this. That's stupid.
With me, I showed 166,000 acres of prime farm ground. At 10%, you could put 16,600 acres, right? And we're capped at 5,000 in the current ordinance, and I don't see that that's up for debate. So I've done the math after the meetings with the 4 developers, And we're somewhere around 3,000 acres right now with those 4 developers. This leaves opportunity for another 2,000 acres to come in under the current ordinance. But keeping into consideration, maybe try to go for a brownfield and not prime farm ground. That's why that's in there. And I will say that both Hawthorne and Exilio said, without exception, that the prime farm ground 10% does not make their project unbuildable. And National Grid Renewable, when they were at Cornerstone Center for the Arts, we reviewed that map there, and it also didn't make it unbuildable. Okay. Yeah. Anything else?
No. What we passed today is going
Planning Commission.
Planning Commission.
Yeah, what we passed today will go to the Planning Commission. Assuming this gets passed today, the Planning Commission will set a date for a special meeting. It'll be a public hearing. It'll be the public hearing. It'll be at the Justice Center, just like it was last time. That date hadn't been set. And I believe Kylene said that they were going to adopt the same rules that we did last time. Basically, those in favor get an hour, those opposed get an hour, so on and so forth. And then it'll come back to the—
I got a problem with that. I got a problem with that too. I got a problem with that. I have a problem with that. If we can't elect people and appoint people on these boards and commissions that can't set their asses in these seats for 4 hours, if that's what it takes, then they need to not be there. Mr. Brand, Mr. Henry, Miss Riggin, and all of the Planning Commission. I'm sorry, if it's a long-ass meeting, it's a long-ass meeting. I don't like that we're going to be cutting off, an hour here, an hour there. That's a bunch of horse shit.
Yes. Okay. So what do you guys want to do on the property value guarantee? We've got 1 mile, a half a mile, and adjacent and adjoining. Those are the 3 proposals. Well, I guess I'm like you. I don't want to send all 3 of these to the Planning Commission. I think that muddies the waters even deeper. I would meet in the middle, I guess, and entertain Ms. Riggins' half mile stipulation. Okay. And on the prime farm ground, after my explanation, you guys are still, you don't want any kind of, even make it 20%. I mean, again, trying to encourage brownfield. There's still 2,000 acres that could be developed for solar. We have brownfields. Just trying to encourage that development. This is probably one of the most controversial topics of our time. Right. And I'm 56 years old, lived here my whole life, and I've never seen anything divide families and communities and friends like this situation has. I mean, parents and kids don't even talk to each other anymore. Farmers that grew up together don't talk to each other anymore. Right? This is extremely controversial. And I will tell you, after talking with folks, the people that are for it don't have as much concern for their neighbors' property rights as the people that have concern with it. They still have concern for the property rights of the landowners that have their ground signed up. I don't see the reciprocal there. Okay, let's keep moving. What do you think about the prime farm ground? What is your wish?
Well, he explained it now, I guess, because a little bit better than 20%.
You want to do 20%? That's fine. Danielle, you got those corrections?
Yep, I'm making it.
Okay. The other, what's the others? I have no problem with the 500-foot setback on battery energy storage. Okay, so we're good with that. Going from 550 to 500. Yep. So the only other topic is private, personal private solar installation. I'm still of the opinion that if you're a homeowner and you want to put some panels on your roof or on your property, you should be allowed to do that. I agree. And roof is one thing. 25 feet from the property line is another one in my view. Do you want to? Would you rather the square footage? No. Would you rather have a stipulation about a setback from the property line for the adjacent homeowner, or private? Sure. That kind of resolves your issue. Yeah, it resolves it's not my issue. So trust me, I don't have any farm ground signed up. None of my family does. I'm only listening to what the people want. And I've heard a 40-to-1 ratio. One person being for it, 40 people being concerned with it. And this is what I'm hearing. Okay. So what's your recommendation? $50 feet. 50 feet from adjacent property, that I would do that, but include a residence on it. If it has a house on the property adjacent to it, then they have to keep 50 feet away from the house. Okay, are you good with that? Yep. Terry, you good with that? I'd like more, but I'll say okay. You got that? So those are the only questions, I believe, on the ordinance, correct? Other than that, the one we posted online will go as written. Yep, with those corrections. Do I have a motion? Second. We have a motion to approve those amendments, and a second, we'll call it Commissioner Brand. Yes. Commissioner Reagan. Yes. Commissioner Henry. Yes. There you go, Kylene. Does that make it easier for you? Not really. All right, let's move on to
Yeah.
department heads. No, old business. The resolution 2025-07.
So this is going to be really important. Yeah. Yeah. Sherry doesn't know what she's doing. She has no clue what she's doing. No. Now listen, Stumblefoot, this does not affect city. This only affects the unincorporated areas of Delaware County. This will not affect city. The city has already answered that. That's already been an answered issue. This will not affect Delaware. This will not affect the corporate inner city limits. Because Audi pushed that last year with Dan, and they came out and said that. So I don't know. I will find out tomorrow when the planning commission meeting will be. We will find out what was happening, what's going on there, and we will make sure that people are there. So yeah, I don't know. All right. Well, can you think of anything else that we haven't that needs to be heard? We'll get ready to close this down, and I'll find out more on this. I'm going to listen to this thing from start to finish once we get off here, and find out fully what's going on. And I'll reach out to the planning commission tomorrow and try to get a hold of Brand and kind of find out some information. But we're going to have to really pull it together, because I think we got a screwing coming. I'm afraid. So we're going to have to fight back real hard. It's going to have to be a big push. We're going to have to show them that that deal. We're going to have to show them the 40-to-1 push. So I'd like to make it a lot bigger than that and prove that. So we're just going to have to get fired up about this, people, because I think if not, we have a screwing coming. As a reminder, there is the Anderson meeting tomorrow, Anderson, Indiana, Delaware room at the Anderson Public Library regarding the NPL sites and the water issues, 5:30 to 7 p.m. at the Indiana at the Anderson, Indiana Public Library. So be sure to come out to that. I will put that up here on the screen just briefly so you guys can see the thing here. That's what this looks like for everybody interested. There it is. There's where it's located. And we will be keeping up to date with what's going on with that. So, yeah, we need to pack the auditorium, and I'm going to push back on that 1 hour bullshit, because I don't think that's all that's doing is it's silencing people right out of the gate. I don't believe in that. That's not a proper way to handle that. You let them come, go to sleep early the night before. If you're on the board, take a nap before the meeting starts, take the day off of work to the next day, but don't cut people out of being able to express their thoughts and concerns one way or another. Put a time limit on people speaking if you want, but don't stop people from whole groups of people from being able to be heard, because you want to get this over and done with quick. That's a bunch of horseshit. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Please share the show with everyone you know. Smash that like button before you leave if you have not. That would be fantastic. Give us a little bit of help there. You guys have been wonderful. Thank you to each and every one of you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a wonderful, tomorrow is Wednesday already. What in the hell? Enjoy your Wednesday. We will be here tomorrow live at 9 p.m. As always, God willing, take care. Have a great day. God bless. And we will see you. Yeah. Bring yourself and 10 friends or family, or 5 family and 5 friends. Bring 5 enemies. It doesn't really matter. Bring 10 people. Go just kidnap people and bring them if you need to. But bring bodies, bring people. We need to pack that auditorium. And tomorrow we'll put the phone number up for people to call and let them know. You can call ahead of time and let people know that they need to open it up to allow everyone to be heard. We'll talk about all that tomorrow. So you guys take care. And we will see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. as always. God willing, take care. Good night. Goodbye.